call the meeting to order at 6:35. Welcome everybody who's here. Thank Amherst Media for providing coverage. We are going to talk about a couple of articles coming before town meeting over the next few minutes, but we're going to start very quickly by going through some minutes because we have a big backlog of minutes that we haven't acted on. First one being the meeting of November 1st, I believe, 2012.
I have to apologize for the delay in getting the minutes. I'll be better next
Thank
time.
you for doing it. Appreciate the teamwork of the committee to get them done. Any additional comments, corrections on the minutes for November 1st of 2012? We're just quickly going through minutes and then we're going to, for a few minutes, to see. So Mary Lou has made a motion on the first of the minutes we're considering, which is November 1st, 2012. Second?
Second.
So it's been seconded by Kay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by raising hands. So I see 6 votes. One absent, who was also the member who was absent at that meeting, so it all worked out well. There's a symmetry in that. The second meeting, I believe, in order is January 22nd, 2013, which was a meeting that was held in the middle school as part of the four-town meeting.
Move approval. Date again, please.
November 22.
January 12th,
January
January
12th, yeah.
which is the four-town meeting. And Mary Lou's made a motion.
I'll second.
Janice has seconded. Any discussion on the motion? None, all in favor indicate by raising hands. So it's 6-0. February 28th.
Move approval.
So
Second.
there's been that was a motion that was made by Mary Lou and seconded by Janice.
Comment.
Comment?
I just want to say for the television audience, if anybody's watching, that we all read these minutes.
Good point.
It's for the meeting,
Went through a couple of iterations.
individually.
Yeah.
May 6th.
Yes. For the people at home, what's being explained is that the process that we've adopted is that a member of the committee drafts minutes, circulates them to the entire committee because we cannot deliberate outside of the meeting. Any comments are sent individually directly back to the drafter of the minutes, who will then do a corrected version, which is then the version that becomes the version for consideration at meetings. But because it's gone through that process, it's had involved committee work and attention from all members. So motion has been made by Mary Lou, seconded by Janice for the meeting of February 28, 2013. The discussion, seeing none, all in favor. So we have, again, 6-0 with one member absent. Next set of minutes, it's more recent, I believe, is May 6,
Move approval.
2013.
Second.
Mary Lou's made a motion, been seconded by Janice. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by raising hands. So it's 6-0 with one member absent. And one last set of minutes, I believe, because there's one out that's still in the draft phase that people need to comment on to the drafter. And that's the one that's left for us to consider is May 6, is May 13.
I have one correction. Under Article 44, I have no recommendation. It really should read no position.
No
The term we
recommendation.
use is recommendation,
Oh,
not position.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, it's no recommendation. Okay, that's fine then, just leave it.
Because we recommend or we don't recommend, and then if we have no recommendation, so we've, so
So we have not recommended.
not recommended,
recommended,
recommend, and no
no
recommendation.
recommendation. Okay,
And that's the terminology that we've generally been
Okay.
using.
all right, my error, all right.
So, any further discussion on
No,
the,
you can do it, I'll email you.
Yeah.
If you
I
want,
can't.
you know,
I did- they're my
until
minutes.
Until you start, I'll email
Great,
them.
okay,
thank you.
I move approval.
okay, Janice has made a motion. Is there a second on the motion?
Motion for what, I'm sorry?
To approve the minutes of May 13. Janice has made the motion,
Second.
and Dan Araga seconded. Any further discussion?
We have two more, Andy.
Yeah, well, let's do this.
No, wait a minute, let's see where we are.
We're on the
Yeah.
13th.
Yeah, okay, all in favor indicate by raising hands.
You can't, you weren't there.
Okay,
Yeah.
love
So-
those minutes though.
So it's
After I cried.
6 with 1 abstention, is that correct?
Yes.
6-0, 1 abstention. Okay, then you said I'm missing 2, and I'm probably missing 2.
Kay's
May
on the
20th.
20th, and Janice is on May 29th.
Well, the 20th,
Those are Kay's.
did we get have you gotten comments back?
Yes,
Okay, in the, I stand corrected,
Move approval.
that's right, it says draft use this one.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Move approval.
okay, thank you, Mary Lou.
Second.
Okay, so Doug is second,
This is the
Discussion.
20th, right?
Right.
so all in favor indicate by raising hands.
Only 4 people were there.
Was I there?
That was, what day is that?
That,
May 20th?
you came right after we'd done this.
Oh,
Wait, yeah, I was there. I've been there.
That's right, I can't
remember
either,
that.
so let's go back again. Kay, Janice, Doug, and Mary Lou were there. All right.
Okay, here we are.
Favor. Okay, 4 opposed, 0, 3 abstentions. Okay, thank you, that gets that straightened
And then-
out.
Yeah,
And then the 29th,
yeah, Janice.
have you had a chance to get comments back?
I got comments from one person,
From me.
from Mary Lou, and that's it. So I don't know if anybody else read them, and didn't comment, or,
I have not read it yet.
Okay, so let's put that, so we'll put that, we'll hold that one and we're 6 post. Okay, so we have 2 things that we need to talk about for tonight that I'm aware of and that y'all may have additional on. But one is that there is a possibility that a motion to reconsider will be offered for the motion, it was the motion to refer that passed by 1 vote at the last town meeting on May 29th, which is under Article 42. And so the question is if there's a motion to reconsider to the position. Now, as a reminder, we had previously taken a position that I think Doug was the speaker for the committee that was in favor of the motion to refer. And I had spoken to not recommend the article, and the reason that we had said we had not recommended was not because we had had a substantive discussion about whether or not the town should acquire something that was being recommended to acquire, but whether the town meeting, it was ready for town meeting action, whether there was enough work that had been done on developing a plan of what was going to be acquired, the price at which it might be acquired, no negotiations had taken place to see if there could be an agreed upon price, no financing plan had been worked out, and no use, including management if it was acquired, had yet been made, and that's, I think, was the substance of our basis for having recommended against. And then it was also the substance of our recommendation for the motion to refer when we heard that one was being offered. So I think with that sort of historical context to put us all back in our heads in the place where it needs to be for the discussion. So if there is a motion to reconsider, should we have a position?
Just a thought. How do we feel that the motion will be treated now that it's been kicked back to the housing subcommittee, right?
Sheltering.
And are we happy with that outcome? I mean, in the sense that maybe the plan will become less half-baked and more fully baked, and that might either kill it or allow it to take wing under a new financing structure.
Interact?
Well, I would have this, my thought was similar in the sense that what new information do we have today that we did not have on May 29th? And the one information we have is that the CPA has supported this. I mean, that's what is that correct? Am I correct in understanding that?
Well, it's interesting because the CPA issued a statement saying that they supported it going forward, but the CPA was not in a position to make a recommendation that something come before town meeting that the town meeting could fund with Community Preservation Act funds because it had not gone through that process.
So I think they're in a similar position to the Finance Committee. They would like to see a specific plan. They didn't make a specific recommendation that could be forwarded to a town meeting. At this point, I think they expressed the sentiment that they were in favor, that this was the type of thing that they would open to fund.
So to me, it seems like, the main concern for us would be that the financial information should be more explicit so we can evaluate that and that information has not changed. That stays the same.
I think that is the way I see it too. I did talk with one of the co-chairs of the Housing Sheltering Subcommittee the day after town meeting, and was assured that they are totally okay with it. They had a posted meeting for Friday. They were prepared to discuss it on Friday. They're prepared to work with town staff and do the work that needs to be done to see if a proposal can be put together to come to a special town meeting sometime in the fall, presumably. And if it did, then of course it would be up to us to again get back in, but we would be at that point acting on a specific proposal and not what was presented.
Excuse me, what does the vote require for a reconsider? Majority?
It's a majority vote, and I presume that it has to be made by somebody who voted in the affirmative, and which is going to be a tricky
Or
question.
not there,
Or
or not in
On
attendance.
the prevailing side, let's say.
But the article itself requires two-thirds.
Right.
or if somebody says there was new information since the vote was taken. But I don't see any new information.
But someone may have been absent, that would be where they would go. If you're absent from the meeting, you didn't
Yeah.
vote.
So my suggestion, because I do want to get to the parking one if we can for at least a few minutes, is that we not recommend reconsideration because referral is most consistent with all of our prior positions, both our stated position on the motion as a whole and our prior position of asking it to be referred so it could be more fully developed. And actually, if that is adopted, I do have a short 2-minute statement that I prepared so that I could make it on behalf, but only if that's what we decide. Doug?
I move to recommend against reconsideration for Article 42.
So Doug has made a motion, it's been seconded by Anurag. Any further discussion? All in favor? So it's 7-0. So,
You're such a slacker, Andy. Really anticipating these things, you know.
yeah. Let's say that's why they pay me the big bucks, except they don't pay me anything. So.
You have to get on there, one of the articles, where they pay the select board and the
All those
and the
in favor?
moderator,
I
all those
believe
in
that's
favor.
covered in the Town Government Act, and this isn't covered in the Town Government Act. So I think I'll leave it at that. In any event, the other thing that we do need to discuss at some point, and I was struggling with this one, I don't know if you guys have given it any thought, because there is the petition article on residential parking, and it is a little bit different from the article that was passed for the rental housing. The rental housing does have a section on parking so that it becomes an overlap.
I just
Yes.
talked to Jonathan, because I was confused about, could we do something with renters and something with residents? He said that the only thing to register in terms of the article we passed is that you have to have a plan. And because you are a business, you use that word, but you can require a plan for parking. But he didn't see Vince's thing. I mean, that doesn't conflict with what's in the plan, because they could not come up with a specific plan. I guess our attorney took it to the Attorney General, and if you have a specific parking plan, like you can't park on the grass and so forth and so on, they would have thrown that out. So the only thing you can put in a bylaw
Oh, right, because,
is a plan, a required plan.
because parking is really a function of zoning, and you can't sort of subvert zoning through bylaws, because for one, zoning takes a 2/3 vote, bylaws take a majority vote, you can't impose zoning through a bylaw. So, the ability to regulate parking other than, as you say, saying there's a plan is pretty limited.
So that's why it was clear for me to talk with him. Just saw him in the hall right before we came in here. So I don't know how that would stand alone then. It seems like that applies to everybody in town. People who are landlords and people who own their own houses and live there. Nobody can park on their grass.
So we had made a general policy statement that we incorporated in our last supplemental report to town meeting. It was really about zoning articles, but it said two things as reasons why we might take a position. Some zoning changes are designed to clarify the bylaw and to make administration more efficient. There's financial benefit to reducing the staff and board time required to administer the zoning bylaw. 3, similarly, the planning board proposes changes to the bylaw to clarify it and reduce the risk of litigation, which is an expense to the town. So I don't know if either of those principles that we talked about in another context provide any guidance for us in this discussion. Okay.
Might this increase the risk for litigation?
That's what I'm
If it just
thinking.
applies to rental properties?
Well, and
It applies to
imposes
everybody.
substantive requirements as opposed to requiring a plan. It seeks on its face to regulate parking in a way that could potentially be seen as an attempt to infringe on an area that is covered by zoning.
Andy, if I may.
Yes.
Did town and council specifically speak to 41 in that regard, or was that a general statement in some other conversations regarding Article 29 that came up?
It was within the context of Article 29, and as they were trying to fashion Article 29 and understanding what they could do in 29. Because I think originally 29 tried to, as it was being drafted, was more prescriptive.
So does that get anybody to a motion that they think is appropriate for this one? Okay.
Go out on a limb and not say we don't recommend it?
Second that.
Okay, so this is regarding Article 41, residential parking. Kay has made a motion, which has been seconded by Bob, to not recommend. And say,
Because it might possibly lead to litigation against the town or undue restriction on, to do with parking at only rental properties.
I didn't get the sense this is only rental properties.
this is all property.
This is all property.
Okay.
But that's just it, that's even more people that could potentially,
Yeah.
potentially bring suit.
Because his presentation to us really
Well,
talked
he's,
about that.
yeah, he stressed that
All
it's
right, that's
everybody.
right, he did, that's right, that
Yeah.
was everybody,
Yes.
that's right, okay.
So it's a workaround, the zoning regulations.
That's the concern.
That's a concern.
That is a concern.
That's what you were saying.
As well as creating some confusion. I mean, it's one of those things that if there's a motion to refer to some committee other than the finance committee, I might support it. But,
Yeah.
yes.
I guess I was sort of thinking, even last time we were talking about this, that maybe it should be referred to the planning board. Or if he has concerns, if you don't recommend it, maybe he could take those concerns to the planning board.
Well, why don't we do two things then? Let's take a vote on the motion if it comes to the floor without a motion to refer. And then take a second vote as to if there's a motion to refer, whether we have a position on the motion to refer.
The first motion is to.
The first motion's on the floor though, so I can't, no
The
second
first motion was not to recommend
The
it.
first motion is period, not recommend.
Article 41.
From us?
From us.
Oh. Well, in some ways, I think there's some legitimacy to some of this, because there are people who own their houses, live in their houses, and their yards look equally as bad as some of the ones that we hear about landlords. I guess I'd prefer to refer this, and maybe there would be some kind of, something that would come out of this that would apply to everybody in town.
I would suggest though, as written, it's problematic, and that's where I come down as in agreement with Kay on the motion to not recommend, just because I think it's problematic in the current form. I don't disagree with your point. I think that that's why if we subsequently take up a motion to refer, that I would support a motion to refer, because I think it does need some more work. There's potentially ways to factor those concerns in, but I think as written, I've got trepidation about it.
Yeah, and if we then came back, we would have a discussion about whether there's a financial impact, which
Right.
is what the question would then be. But it's too hypothetical. That's not a discussion for now.
So would our comment be that, as written, we recommend,
Do not recommend.
we do not recommend,
Right.
but we can make it clear that if somebody wants to refer, that, you know, that's a different vote.
Right.
But the motion on the floor is the motion regarding the motion
Right.
in terms of the article. It's presumed to be about the article because we have no other information to work from at this time. So is there any further discussion? Because it is 7 o'clock and we do need to. It's all in favor if there's no further discussion, so it's a 7-0 vote. Can I ask Kay or Bob to, one of them, since they were the maker and seconders, to talk between the two of you or recruit somebody to speak? I don't think we need a written supplemental report again. I think what we just need is a speaker. And,
Okay.
you can recruit anybody, but I'll leave it to the two of you to
Do we
figure
want
out.
to take a vote? I move that if there's a motion to refer this to the planning board, we would support that.
And second,
Okay, so Mary Lou's second motion made by Kay to, that if a motion to refer, and you said specifically to the planning board, is offered, we would support. We would recommend rather.
we recommend.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor indicate by raising hands. 7-0. Is there anything else we need to discuss? Because if not, we need to adjourn and go to the other room.
Move adjourned.
So we are adjourned at 7 o'clock.